Shane Green is the founder and president of SGEi, a Fortune 500 culture consultancy. He's a world renowned keynote speaker, author of Culture Hacker, and he's a television personality. Shane consults with global Fortune 500 leaders on customer experience and organizational culture. He draws upon his foundation at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company and works in multiple industries to transform his clients' employees' mindset, experience, and habits to improve customer experience, employee retention, and organizational performance. As a catalyst for modern service economy, Shane and his team inspire companies and their people to move beyond the mundane, out of the status quo, so that they want to exceed the expectations of their internal and external customers. And let's do a little name dropping here, Shane. He's worked with brands like the NBA, Westfield, Foot Locker, NetJets, MSC Cruises, W Hotels, Madison Square Gardens, Cisco Systems, and BMW to reprogram their employee mindset and skills to create loyal customers and raving fans. Shane is yet another one of the awesome people I've met through Peter Winnick and Bill Sherman's group there. Shane, how's it holding up? How you doing?
Hey, listen, like everybody else, we are holding. As I said, we're doing well. So thanks for getting me on this morning. It's great.
No, I appreciate your time. Just three quick questions here. I've spoken to other folks about culture, and that's always been a bit of a bugaboo for me. It's kind of that, it's like oxygen, or you know it's there, but you can't see it. If you don't mind, if you could just give me the short take on what you're observing is the current state of organizational culture.
Perfect, Dave. Well, listen, let's start with the definition. Culture is the collective hearts and minds of a group of people. So let's just think about that. I think it often gets forgotten. It's about hearts and minds. So if you're talking about the current state, every manager every day should always be thinking about that. What are the current hearts and minds of my people? How do they feel? Now, there's always exceptions. So some people, have a bad day. But overall, you go collectively, how does my team feel? I think the reality that a lot of managers are facing is people aren't feeling good right now. There's a lot going on in the world. And that is why I think it's, there is a responsibility in and outside of work that we really have to have a human approach to our work, probably more than any other time before. So unfortunately, if we were to say collectively, a lot of cultures inside and outside of work are hurting a little bit.
Yeah, fair enough. Also, another thing that you spend a great amount of deal of time on is specifically getting down into the weeds with employee issues, employee anxieties, employee expectations. Is there anything new or different or unusual that you're encountering in any of the client work that you're doing that address those specific things, anxieties, expectations?
Yeah, listen, that people have anxieties like never before. I think in some ways, and again, pre-COVID, we often overlooked some of these anxieties. I think they were kind of part of a forgotten world that is much larger than anything we can cover, but really mental wellness. What you're seeing now is that employees are coming into work, and there's this old adage, it used to be, well, the manager would say, leave your personal problems at home. Don't bring them into work. It's complete bullshit. Again, how can you not? You're dealing with it. And what we're seeing right now is that people are dealing, even right now, schools. How do I get my kids to school? Are they going to school? Who's taking care of them while I have to go to work? Obviously, through this time, unemployment's gone up. There's a lot of issues. So at any given moment, an employee can be dealing and juggling with a lot of things, and they're anxious about the future. As a result, when you're anxious about the future and not necessarily optimistic about it, I think what happens is it's really hard to perform. As this is going on, I think we've got managers who traditionally are not equipped. They're certainly not equipped to deal with mental wellness or health. But now we're asking them to deal with anxieties. And what you're seeing is managers who aren't prepared for that are really going into their shell and saying, the typical just do the job, get the job. What we're seeing on the other side of those that get it, I think empathy is a really important trait right now that managers must have. Understand that your employees have got a lot going on. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Managers have a lot going on as well. So I think right now there's a very human approach that has to come out and work. And I think those that did it in the past are quite successful now, are continuing to maintain what is essentially a pretty good culture. But you're seeing that the gap between those that get it and those that do not really sort of extending more than anything before. So that's our big concern right now. It often be if a manager gets it and they understand their leadership responsibilities, which is inspiring hearts and minds, that they're doing and coping reasonably well and their teams are flourishing. But the ones that don't, that are very stuck in a traditional mindset that this is work, get the work done, you're really seeing that it's adding more stress to an already difficult situation out there.
Yeah. Thanks. And finally, Shane, what lessons have we learned that we must not forget?
Listen, I think there's so many lessons, and I am optimistic. And again, I think even the evolution of work out of this is becoming. I always thought it was interesting. One of the biggest benefits, or that was asked for many employees, was more flex time, working from home. So these things have kind of dropped into our laps. Many organizations says no, that we can't do that. How are we going to control our employees? And all of a sudden, they had a remote workforce. I'm very optimistic that that continues to happen. Now, the benefits of the remote workforce that we've seen in terms of our initial research on satisfaction is the opportunity to have more home time, spend more time with the kids, potentially actually bringing some personal benefits that probably weren't there before. So I really want to emphasize that this is what has to continue. We are going, and we were going down a track where people were not disconnecting from work at all. Obviously, technology was keeping us sort of in work, even when we're sleeping, I guess you could say. This opportunity for people, whether they're working from home, maybe to have an extra meal with the family, being able to sit up, connect, maybe walk outside, but connecting back with those that are most important to them. I don't think we can forget that. I'm very optimistic that that's actually one of the true benefits out of this, is that people are understanding that blend of personal and professional, which, as I said before, some people just thought you could separate it. It wasn't. It can't. And as a result of this, I actually believe we're bringing both closer together, and that ultimately could actually end up being a healthier situation.
That's fantastic. Hey, Shane, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk to us about this. Have a good one.
Hey, listen, always a pleasure.